I'm Judge Penny Wolfgang, and welcome to The Big Picture. The holiday season is upon us, but for many of our neighbors, the need is great to feed their families. Many rely on the generosity of churches and food pantries. One of the largest is Feed More Western New York, which also includes support for Meals on Wheels. Joining us to tell us about a holiday needs drive are some familiar faces to us here on WBBZ. They are the pastors that we watch every Sunday at 10 a.m. on Western New York Church Unleashed. Welcome Pastor Steve Biegner from St. Paul's Lutheran and Pastor Roger Griffiths from Zion Lutheran Church.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much
Judge.
for coming here, gentlemen. Now,
Good to be here.
As we said, we're old friends, and our viewers are certainly familiar with you. But Pastor Steve, we want to talk right away about a food pantry at St. Paul's, which is where an event is going to take place. And how did this start? And tell us about the event itself.
Yeah, it's a great question, Judge. It started because when the pandemic hit, people didn't have as many chances to give to these areas of need. And yet at the same time, the number of people that needed the food was increasing exponentially because they were losing jobs or losing financial stability, and the food insecurity went up while the number of people that were able to give went down. So it was a bad equation, so to speak. But we envisioned this with the TV station last year as part of our church ministry and as part of WBBZ to find a way that people could drive up to one site and just pop their trunk, and folks would come over and take the food out, and they would not have to roll down their window if they didn't want to. But we were very excited last year and again this year to have Delta Sonic come on board with us and help sponsor this so that folks that were giving $50 in cash or gift cards or food would get a free car wash too. So every time they would come, they would get something as well. So not only do we get the joy of being able to give to people in need, but we get our car wash too. So.
And especially around here, that's
it's a
very,
big thing
very
in the winter
welcome.
for Western New Yorkers, right?
I was there last year with the WBBZ-TV, and it's amazing how it worked. That, as you said, people could drive up, and everything was so smooth, and plus the atmosphere is it's really exciting to be part of it. I'm sure that's in your mind when you plan it, that everyone feels like they're contributing something and enjoying themselves as well.
Yeah, we had fun doing what we do. It's our ministry to begin with, but it's also exciting to be able to watch other people's excitement in giving. So everyone kind of built the energy there. We had our musician, one of our musicians that does the sound for our church service as a DJ, and just filled the airwaves around us with great music and holiday tunes. So had a great energy there.
And also, we should tell everyone what kinds of donations you're looking for.
Yeah, well, right now, any non-perishable goods are just needed hugely. So we have those. You can give gift cards to Tops or Wegmans, or give cash gifts. And we've had someone come forward, and they're going to match the first $5,000 in cash donations. So whatever we get will actually be doubled. So we're hoping folks will come out and be able to give that way. But non-perishable goods, what we do is pack them in a truck and take them down to Feed More the next day, and they will, whatever we get in our truck that day and get down to Feed More, they'll have out in pantries a day or two later, and it'll be in people's homes by the end of the week. So it's amazing how fast we go through the supplies. Yeah.
Now, just changing the subject for 1 minute, have either or both of you had any dealings with the Afghan refugees that are coming to this area? And if so, from your perspective, what are you learning about these neighbors, and what are their needs?
Well, I have not had any personal dealings yet with any of the folks coming from Afghanistan, but I do know that we are organizing and coordinating some efforts to help, and we're also participating in efforts that are already going on. Information about that can be found on our Facebook page, so that's WNY Church Unleashed. You can find us on Facebook, but that there is a tremendous need, right?
Have you had any experiences?
Well, we focus at our church more with Haitian refugees that have come into town, but Pastor Jeremiah at Parkside Lutheran, they're adopting a couple Afghan families, and so what they'll do is provide the needs that they have, furniture and clothes and those type things in their home, and also help get them to doctor's appointments and drive them around town to get information that they need. So you can also contact Parkside Lutheran Church if you want to help directly with those families.
You know what I think is interesting? The fact that actually both of your churches are located in what we might think of as middle to upper class areas, locations. But people might think, oh, why would they be collecting food? Why do they need food? But they do, right?
We do, yeah. Our church is located in Clarence Center, which you would think is, again, upper middle class, but it's an old farming community too. So there's a tremendous need, and there is food insecurity everywhere in Erie County. There's food security everywhere. So the need is great. Yes, we take the donations, we'll bring them down to feed more, but sometimes people will wander into the church and they'll need help right then and there, and we're able to provide them with a meal, give them a few bags of groceries, and give them the help that they need immediately, right?
Yeah.
So.
And St. Paul's, being right on the edge of the city line, and Parkside being in the city, also has a pantry. We work with an elementary school, Windermere Elementary, that has about 35% of their kids that are receiving free breakfast or reduced lunch. And so a lot of families are in need right in our neighborhood around our church. And also
everywhere.
Zion and Clarence Center gives pantries that are in the city, so they collect there, and then you guys take them to other folks.
We just had a 400-pound food challenge for 1 month. We were going to get together 400 pounds of pasta and sauce, and the church put together over 600 pounds in just a few weeks. And I get to bring that all downtown to what the organization's called Community of Good Neighbors, housed right downtown on Main Street. And that food's going to be distributed to people in need, again, within days. So it's there are a lot of organizations to help. The need is tremendous.
Yeah, and we actually just heard this morning that giving is down somewhere around 13 to 15%. This to charities and to the food bank. Those are the food bank's numbers. So Feedmore is really in need right now, both for folks that can come and pick their food up, but also that great partnership that they have with Meals on Wheels, that the deliveries can go right to their homes.
You know, last time we talked, you pointed out we were on Zoom when we were having a conversation, and hopefully things are getting better, and we're here. But it's been 2 years pretty much since the pandemic started, and now you've been dealing with it in your ministry. Have things changed in Western New York Church Unleashed, and are there going to be more changes?
Well, we added Pastor Roger. Pastor Julius was with us for the first year. We planned on doing Western New York Church Unleashed for about 6 weeks. That was our original plan. Remember when the pandemic was going to be over? And,
yes,
and so Pastor Roger came into Zion and took over after Pastor Julius left, so he's jumped in. And so, yeah, those types of changes, we are now expanding and going to be putting the church service on in markets and in other places outside of Buffalo and Florida for all the snowbirds that go down to Florida. The church service will be on down in a local market down in the Sarasota area,
We're also trying to build community in different ways, so that this isn't just a broadcast that's sent out to you, but you can participate with us in other ways. So we plan a Zoom communion service. Everyone can get together and share the sacrament together.
And then Christmas Eve.
And Christmas Eve, we're going to gather at the Clarence Center Pavilion on Goodrich Road at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. For those who aren't yet comfortable, and we know there's a lot who are still not comfortable going into a closed space or going back to church, we're going to get together outside. We'll bundle up, but we'll still have candles, we'll still sing Silent Night and celebrate Christmas Eve together in a way that hopefully folks are more comfortable with. Throughout this Advent season too, again on our Facebook page, every night you'll see one of our faces offering a prayer, and those are what a good opportunity for folks to send a little message and just communicate if you have any prayer concerns or you have something going on that you need help with. We're going to be right there live, and you can talk to us. So we're trying to grow this into a community of folks working together rather than just something that's beamed out, right?
Well, they keep saying that people don't, as a rule, are not as religious as they were years ago. And no matter what your faith, do you find like now during this holiday season particularly, people are turning to religion more?
Well, I know from growing up in Western New York and then moving back, we're like the best human beings between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Like, just people are giving and giving and giving, and so we hope that they will come to the Holiday Needs Drive. But I think also the spirit of Christmas, the true spirit of God's love for us and coming into the world for us, it hangs out. Even if you don't go to church the rest of the year, there's something that sticks in your head about like, that's right, God still loves me. And how can I connect to that a little bit? And if Church Unleashed can be part of that, we're blessed to be able to do that. But there's also a lot of local churches that, you haven't been there in a while, maybe give it a shot again and hear a little bit different take. Maybe you've changed, the church has changed, but we know God's love for us hasn't changed.
You know, Pastor Roger, you're kind of a newcomer, so to speak, here. What brought you here?
Well, I felt called. I don't know any other way to really say it. I felt like God really had something for me to do at Zion and Clarence Center. Western New York Church Unleashed was like a bonus that came with that congregation's call to me. I think that there's a lot of work to do in communicating the needs of the poor and the needs of the oppressed to those of us who live, who are a little more well off, who don't experience that sort of urgency and that sort of need economically or socially. So there's a real calling in my heart to be out in the suburbs doing this kind of work out here. So that's a little bit of the story of why I ended up in
Let's
this
be honest
ministry.
though, you got a voice like butter, and we needed an incredible voice on the show.
You sing him a
And
song,
he's got
and
a voice like butter. If you haven't heard him sing, you got to hear him sing.
We hear
Christmas
it.
Eve. We'll sing again on Christmas Eve.
Everyone has something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Right.
We're so familiar with Pastor Steve. He's such an old friend here. I have to remind everyone that you're actually also a firefighter and a first responder. What has that been like in the last couple of years?
Well, as the chaplain for Erie County Emergency Services, it has been such an incredible journey that these men and women have been having to respond to. There's, on top of the regular needs that they used to go to day in and day out, now they have to do it wearing extra gear and extra precautions, and maybe only one person can go in the house instead of 2 or 3. And then when they come out, there's all kinds of other protocols that they have to follow. And some of the fire halls were closed, so they couldn't even get together with their fire family. So it has been a real challenge for them. So along with all of our frontline responders, and Pastor Rogers worked as a chaplain in the hospital, and we know how this weighs on people day in and day out. It's just really important that as this pandemic continues, we make sure we care for them as well, and thank them, and make sure that we are being a little bit more gracious with them as well.
We have a culture of showing up in catastrophes, and it's an urgent need, and there's a thrill that comes with being a part of helping people who are just have gone through a tragedy. We're in a day-to-day catastrophe with a global pandemic, right? And it brings about fatigue. It brings about just a level of exhaustion that we have never experienced in our lifetimes. And if you try to bottle that up, if you don't share that stuff, if you don't find the resources that you need to talk to people who are ready to help you, like we are ready to help you, and listen to those stories and allow you to get that off your chest, so you're not living every day with that kind of exhaustion. This is a time when we all need to come together, not just first responders, but everyday responders, to help each other and to walk with each other.
So please let your audience know that Pastor Roger and I are here. If there are folks in need and they're just feeling like it's overwhelming, to reach out to us.
Absolutely.
And get in touch with
because
us.
they keep saying that there's so much need for mental health help, because mental health
and spiritual care.
I was going to say that fits right in. I know you mentioned Clarence Center, but we ought to be specific. I said what a nice neighborhood you're in, and you sort of described it, but let's give, like, where are you located? What street?
So Zion Lutheran Church is located at 9535 Clarence Center Road, just down from the coffee shop there at the Four Corners.
Okay, I know where that is.
And St. Paul's is at 4007 Main Street. We're the church next to Brunner's. Most people know where Brunner's is in Western New York. So now one day Brunner's will be the bar next to St. Paul's.
I was
but for now, we're still the church next to
For
Brunner's.
now, yes, right. Okay. Well, we actually congratulate the entire Western New York Church Unleashed team for also being recognized by the New York State broadcasters for their unique community partnership with us, WBBZ-TV.
Amen.
And we are really proud to help. So for more information, you can go to WNYChurchUnleashed.com. And we will be right back.